Have you ever wondered how to bring professional live 3D graphics into your live broadcasts and streams? How to make your streams look like the big guys like ESPN, Fox Sports, and so forth? How do they do those amazing transitions between shots, bring on crazy cool looking titles with sound effects and all the good stuff? Well, today we're going to show you how. So we have Travis from NewBlue coming in to teach us all about the professional 3D live titling software plugin for Wirecast, Live Titler, and Title Designer. And we will be diving in deep with him. And you should definitely stay tuned because it's going to be great. I'll see you after the opening credits. Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of Wirecast Live. I'm your host, Andrew Haley, and every week we bring on the best experts we can find in social media marketing, live streaming, live graphics, live production, and other cool stuff all around Wirecast and live streaming. It is a hot industry right now, and as you know, if you've been following it all, it's just going through a crazy boom growth with Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, a lot of major companies jumping on board, and it is pretty exciting. So if you haven't gotten into the live streaming game yet, this is the time, and this is the show where you can learn how to do it and what you can do to get started. Today, we're going to be talking all about 3D graphics, live titles like I have on my show here, and how you can make them, how to create your own playlist. We're even going to share the playlist that we're making here so you can use it on your own shows if you use Wirecast or NewBlue's live titling software. If you don't know, Wirecast comes pre-bundled. Wirecast 7, if you buy it, you get a free copy of NewBlue's graphics and live titling software. We are a great live streaming company. We make great live streaming software, but we will never be a professional graphics company. At least to my knowledge. So that's why we call in experts like Travis and NewBlue to do that for us, and we work very closely with their team to be able to bring their tools, their designs, and their graphics into Wirecast to make your broadcast that much more professional. And nothing looks more professional than three-dimensional graphics when you put them on a live stream. You can certainly do static titles, but when you animate those 3D graphics, something really goes to the next level, and suddenly you're talking about a production value that you can only get, or historically you could only get, on the major broadcasts, some major broadcasting networks and so forth. So if you are at all curious on how you can do that, how you can replicate that, you should definitely stay tuned for my interview with Travis White from NewBlue. When he's on the air, he's going to come on the show in just a few moments, and check that out. He'll be walking us through a tutorial, and later on he's going to make available the graphics that he creates and shows you how to create. So it should be a very educational, very entertaining show, and you will learn a lot, as will I. And before that, I have just a few major announcements I want to talk about. Coming up next week, if you didn't know, we do live webinars from time to time. Those are deep dives into certain topics that we don't get into the show here. And next week, we have a very exciting one for schools and education. And we're going to be talking about how do you properly prepare to live stream your graduations. Graduation time is just around the corner. And so a lot of you out there may be wanting to think about how can I stream my graduations and ceremonies to distant family members, to grandma and grandpa. Maybe they can't travel anymore, or they're too far across the country to come, or maybe they have too many grandkids and you need to be able to stream to them that way. How do you stream any of those ceremonies? There's things to think about and things that you may want to know and challenges you're going to want to overcome. We're bringing on, again, another expert in that, John Best. He's from the Shelby County School District out in Memphis, Tennessee. It's one of the largest school districts in the country, and John streams more graduations, high school, and in that school district than almost anyone I know in the country. So I think you'll want to tune in for that. You can register at telestream.net/events to check that out. And Another exciting announcement. Next week's Wirecast Live show, we have a very special guest, the queen of Facebook, Mari Smith, coming on. And Mari and I are going to be going way in deep all about how to most effectively use Facebook Live, which we are streaming on right now. Nobody knows this better than Mari. Again, we just try to go out and get the people who know best and bring them on the show so that they can talk directly to you. We have done that with Mari. She's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to interviewing her. And her and I will be making an ebook all about the stuff we talk about on the show and all the stuff we don't have time to get into. So if you are curious and want to get that ebook, or if you want to get registered for that show and get notified the minute we go live by email, you should head over to telestream.net/Mari. So I'll throw that up on the screen now. Telestream.net/Mari. You can sign up to get the ebook when it's ready. We're working on it now, and we will send it to you as soon as it's done. And that is also the best place to go to get notified of our live events. So check that out. Head over to the URL. It's on the screen now, and you can do that after the show or anytime. It's going to be up all through the show. That's the best place to go to sign up and get the ebook and get more information on that upcoming show. I'm really excited to do that one. So check it out. That should be a pretty exciting show. And I think that's it for my announcements for the moment. We are going to dive into our special guest for this show and all about live titling and graphics with Travis White from NewBlue. Travis, are you still there after my long-winded opening?
Yes, I'm still here.
Did you leave? Did you go?
No, it was riveting. It was absolutely riveting.
So thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate it. You are tuning into us on our Skype TX machine, our New Tech Talk show, coming from San Diego. How's the weather down there?
It's good, man. It's sunny as it always is. It always is.
High of 70 degrees, low of 70 degrees. I'm so jealous. Gosh, like Northern California, we get cold up here, man.
Yeah, we have seasons.
That's true.
It's a give and take, right?
Yeah, it's true. We get the fall colors. We get some of that cool stuff. You get the beach all year long. All right, we should do a home swap sometime. Come up here.
There you go.
We'll take San Diego for a whip. All right, so Travis, for those of you, our guests who don't know you, can you explain just a little bit about your role at NewBlue, what you do, and your background?
Yeah. So my background is I started in Hollywood as a video editor, or film editor, and then went to some software companies that were starting video editing software. And I started a company called ULead, then went to Pinnacle, then went to Avid that makes the media composer for all the Hollywood films. And then all that time, I was dealing with plugin manufacturers and effects and technology manufacturers. And then I ultimately came to NewBlueFX, which we make video effect plugins for video editing, titling for video editing, and also titling for live production, which we're here to talk about today.
Right, and that was a big step, moving into the live space. That wasn't something NewBlue had done before, right?
That's right, and it wasn't something that we intended early on. Mm-hmm. It was actually just a natural progression. I mean, the best stuff that you do is where you see where you're strong and you're like, hey, there's an adjacent market that makes good sense, right? So we started with video effects that clean skin, make sky bluer, and a lot of corrective stuff within the production world, video production. And then we noticed that there wasn't a really good titling solution for a lot of the video editing applications. And so we made Titler Pro, which is a 3D animated titling solution for post-production.
Right.
And then we, just like you talked about earlier on in the open, live production is booming. And we're like, hey, how can this, what we do, translate to that? And that's what bore Titler Live.
That's pretty cool. And so at this point, would you say you guys are one of the experts in live graphics production for the prosumer area? And that, and because I know you work with just about everybody out there, and you're constantly, you're on version 2 of the product now, right? And so
we're on version 2 of the product.
Okay. And I'm sure that you've found some challenges when developing for live stuff. What are some of the top things that you guys had to solve, problems you had to solve when creating a live, titling software? What are things you think about when you think about the person who's using the software?
Well, anything with live, and when you see big ticket productions, that's what we'd call big iron, right? The broadcast space is full of servers and server racks and big pipes and big graphics cards that are, multiple $1,000s. Like, oh, let's buy a switcher for $40,000, no problem, right? So it's that kind of world, and it had to be for a time because really that specialty hardware was the only thing that could drive interesting 3D animated work, and in the switcher world. And you guys have been one of the real pioneers in the switching side. And just see so we kind of like share a similar story walking side by side in that sense, right?
Right.
So the challenges that we had to face is like, how do you bring that high level of animated production value on what we would say is consumer machines, and lower cost machines? And the reality is that all of the broadcast channels, the consumption of the traditional broadcast channel continues to shrink. And the consumption of new media channels, such as Facebook Live, as you mentioned earlier, continue to grow. So the big guys, as well as the big guys, need to look at what are their costs, and the medium guys are like, we can finally do this. Mm-hmm. And so the big challenge was making a workflow that was accessible, that grew with the user's interest in the the complexity that they want to do. And so we spent a lot of time on the interface, new models of how to do graphics rather than just following what the traditional models were, and that kind of thing. And we can share a little bit about that today with the workflow, and people can see what those kinds of moments look like. And then it's not all that hard at all to get into.
That's cool. Yeah. So and there's even newer ways now that you can get graphics into, say, live programs because of the invention of technologies like NewTek's NDI, right?
It's true.
You've now got the ability, in Photoshop, you used to have to create your titles, you had to export them, and now you don't necessarily ever need to do that. You can keep the file open in Photoshop and just send almost a live stream of that graphic over to other software that's ready to receive it, and your software does that, right? So
yep.
People have multiple ways to get graphics in. Yeah,
the kind of the mainstay for quite some time has been SDI, and those are big pipes to send, uncompressed graphic images, but you needed two streams. You need a pipe that's sending a full color image. You need another pipe that's sending a matte, a grayscale matte to cut out the alpha that you need. Mm-hmm. And the low price cards are $500, and it just keeps going up from there. It's a significant cost. Mm-hmm. So NewTek came out with their NDI stream, which just goes through a network cable. Mm-hmm. And so that opens up a whole bunch of what you can do just with network cables and switchers and things of that nature.
And so it can send the graphic. It can also send the matte, the alpha.
Yeah, together. It is the image itself has alpha in it already, so you don't need to send two streams. Yeah.
And all right. Well, I think it would be pretty cool to show people a little bit about, because you talked about workflows that can grow with people, workflows that they may need to think about when they're creating graphics for the show. I know the more prepared we are, the more time my team has to make graphics, get things ready for the show, the better the shows always end up. And so if we can spend that time in pre-production making workflows, making graphics, changing templates, making templates that work for our show, and then we can just run them in a playlist. So we're not having to create graphics on the fly. You're not having to do all that during the time. That's certainly possible. It's just more to think about, more to work to do. And so, I think your software has really enabled us to do that. My team has NewBlue playlists that they've made and templates that they made that they know they can go back to, just like we're running on here.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I recognize that.
Yeah, and so it's pretty cool the way that the software enables us to save everything we've done. If we need to open a new, open the old titles but change them or modify them, it's really easy, and then they're ready to go for the next show. We're not necessarily have to reinvent the wheel every time, but if we want to, we can. I've really enjoyed that about it a lot, and
it's been another big difference between what has been and what is today. Like an ESPN, for example, they'll go off and hire a whole artist graphics firm to create every template that they're going to use, and we recognize that the mid-market is they need somewhere to start.
Right.
And so we've included a whole bunch of templates that are completely modifiable and to work with at different levels of functionality. And then people, of course, can make their own as they go along if they have a distinct brand that they want to get across. but it gets them going, is what your point is.
Yeah, for sure. So why don't we dive in? You can show a little bit about how this works. And just to clarify, everything you're going to show is in what version? Because I know there's 4 versions. We have our free basic, which has like 60 templates and graphics. You can't do any editing. You can just change the basics. You can modify them a little bit, but you can't make new ones. You can't design your own. That's free with Wirecast. And then the next version up is the standard designer. And that's about $300. Is that right?
Yeah, and the main difference there is that you can edit and create your own designs.
And is that basically the level we're showing today, or is there anything above that you're going to be showing?
I'm going to be showing the fundamentals today.
Okay.
And so I'll stay general. I think maybe since you brought it up, maybe the first thing to do is actually show the Telestream store and see the 3 levels, which I have.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's switch over to you, and I'm going to let you take the wheel for a bit, and I will just ask questions as you drive.
All right. So we're starting at the end. So this is Telestream's website here, and this is the Wirecast store, where you can buy Wirecast Studio, Wirecast Pro, and if you slide down just a little bit, we have Titler Live Standard, Titler Live Advance, and Titler Live Ultimate at different price points for the different levels of functionality you need. And these are right here. You can see some points right here that differentiate them. The main idea with standard, like you mentioned, every Wirecast, and actually a lot of Wirecast users miss this. Every Wirecast version comes with a Titler Live Express, and that's template based. And something just happened to me. The AC came on. I'm going to switch it off. 1 second.
Okay. I'll just take over while you're doing that. So Travis brings up a good point here. I mentioned this over and over again because I think a lot of Wirecast users don't know that they have this tool already. Like if you're on 7, you already have Titler Live Express, and you should take advantage of that because there's a lot of functionality just in those templates, and you don't have to do really any work. You enter your name, the title, maybe you change a logo, but that's all you need to do, and it goes live on the screen. And so that's just the basic version. But so I try to just keep reiterating that, and we'll be talking a lot more about Titler and live graphics coming up over the next several months, because I feel like that was just sort of something that we didn't really, that a lot of people still don't know much about. And so we want to kind of do an educational campaign to let more people know what's right under their fingertips. And then if they need more, then you also have, starting with the basic standard upgrade, for not that much more, you can start designing your own titles. And then if you're going into sports or more like really pro level production where you're exporting XML files or Excel files and tons of titles, and you need really everything that they can offer, then of course there's the ultimate version. But so Travis, I'm going to hand it back to you. Talk a little bit about the idea behind each version.
Okay. Well, the idea behind each version is the Titler Live Standard here, and we're going to be showing things from standard and up today, because standard, the main thing that really happens there is you have this title designer interface, and that enables you to make your own designs and to modify any templates that you have there. So that's really powerful to get your own look going. You can import your own PSD files if you have those. If you import a PSD that has multiple layers, you can animate those independently, which is gets really sexy.
And so, Travis, I think what we'll do is, because the fonts may be hard to read for folks there, let's cut back to my screen. I have the same thing. We can pull that in. Oh, there you go.
How about
you just
that?
Zoom in. That's even better. There we go.
All right. So next step, just to keep it simple, is Titler Live Advance. Titler Live Advance is all about sports, really. So you get 2 live game clocks. You have the ability to have scoreboards, animated scoreboards. You have HDMI output, and you start supporting NDI, which you've talked about previously. So there's 2 ways to connect to Wirecast. One way, which I'm going to be using today, is as a plugin within Wirecast. But you can also put Titler Live on another machine if you have a partner you're working with, and that machine can send a graphic signal across your network cables to your Wirecast machine, and have a little bit of division of labor there, depending on the kind of productions you're doing.
I love that. I love that somebody can just be handling sports or scores. They could be handling graphics and scoreboards, and they just deal with that and manage all the titles. And the Wirecast operator can just focus on the cameras and switching. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then also it comes with more content. So there's something called Fluid Motion Pack and Kinetic Motion Pack. Those are animations, and I'll use some of them in the demonstrations today, that really bring a liveliness to the moves. It's not just a fade in, fade out, cut. It's some pretty interesting moves that act on a character-by-character basis that you can apply to anything, whether it's your Photoshop files or whether it's your characters themselves. So those become really powerful and impressive.
Cool.
So then the last one is pretty much everything in the kitchen sink. It's Titler Live Ultimate. So here, now not only talking about division of labor, you can actually prepare all your data in a CSV file or an Excel spreadsheet. And that can drive all of your graphics ready to go. So maybe you have someone on your team that's organizing the information. You have a panel of speakers that are talking, and you might not know who the next guest is, and they show up at the front desk, and the person at the front desk types into the CSV file their name, and it is ready to go live. So, that kind of thing there. Unlimited titles in a playlist. So that is just basically any amount of titles you need for your show. Native 4K resolution as we continue to move towards that in the different production. And then a lot more fantastic content. So where you have 4 new collections of open titles, lower third titles, bugs, and a whole bunch of different stylings. And so another thing that you'll see with Titler Live, it's not one look. Some tools, you definitely, I recognize that tool. That's that look.
Right.
But that's not the case with Titler Live. You can really design any visual that you want.
That's cool. Well, I'm excited to see the demo here. So do you so anything you're showing today, is there anything you're going to show that's not available in the standard version, not the sports or the advanced or the ultimate, but the basic?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
And if I happen to stumble upon it, I'll say so.
Okay. And I want to start with that too, because we could certainly talk about sports and scoreboards and NDI and dual operation, and we talk about pro. So I think we should have you back to talk more about the advanced features of higher end versions, because I know some of the viewers will be interested in that. But let's start with just the basic upgrade from the Express to the standard version. You can start designing your own titles. You can start doing a lot of stuff that you're going to show right now on how to start bringing your own professional 3D graphics into Wirecast.
Great. Well, the first thing here, you can see my Wirecast screen and the shot bin down there, and I have 3 graphics. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the graphics that we're going to end up with, and then we'll kind of go backwards and show how I came to design or got these designs. Mm-hmm. So we'll do it that way. So down here, I have my camera right here where I'm talking, but let's say I don't want to be first on the show. I want a show open. So let's click our first card here, and it's animated. Now I click my camera that's going to be underneath it, and then when it times itself out and falls down, here I am.
Wow.
So we're talking about...
It was just timed to just stay on that long and then come off as just the playlist? Okay.
Exactly.
No manual move in, no manual move out. Just click it, it goes.
That's right.
And
I'll show you how that gets done when we set it up for sure.
That's rad.
And then later on in the show, people are tweeting about the content, so I can bring up a social design. And this one's kind of interesting. This is a design that I actually put together 2 things. I put a Wirecast function together. Wirecast has their message feed, and put that on top of an animated graphic. And now we're able to have these live tweets coming in.
Yeah, because Wirecast, the Twitter, can pull in the tweets. You've created a text box right there. Could you show the, maybe to the left, the inspector panel, just so we see what that shot's composed of?
Oh, yeah. So this shot is composed...
You may need to zoom in a little there so we can see.
Okay. So this shot is... Let me take all the layers off.
Okay.
So the first thing is every time you make a new shot, where is that? This actual shot is actually a Titler Live source, which I'll get into how to create it.
Okay.
And then what we've added is 2 pieces of text from the
from Wirecast.
From Wirecast, yeah.
Text boxes, and then that's
all together here in the shot layers.
And what you do if you add those text boxes is you're pulling in the tweet strings from the message feed.
Right. So if we go up to the message feed, Twitter, message feed, here's the interface that Wirecast offers. And I elected to use the rotate selected every 3 seconds. So I checked off 3 tweets that I might want to cycle through here. Now, obviously, you have the refresh or go back in history buttons, and so I have this opportunity to highlight certain tweets that I want to show in the show.
That's cool. And then if people are curious, if you want to jump over to, say, the last inspector panel, the properties,
I think.
There you go. The text box, if you click on one of the Wirecast text boxes, there you go.
There you go.
Should see like social string, social name in like basically a little URL language or XML language. And if you copy and paste that, and you can get those from Twitter, if you just create a Twitter message shot, you'll see that value right there. You copy and paste that into any text box, and as long as you've hooked up Wirecast to grab your message feeds from Twitter using the Twitter menu, then whatever shots have that string in it will get the receiving information from Twitter, so that the tweets will just appear automatically depending on that Twitter menu will basically, or message feed will just pass that information right into that text box.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And then finally, we've talked about what we're going to talk about, and the show's over, right? And we go to our last graphic, and it's like, hey, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yeah, the subscribe page. That's important for anybody who's doing this type of show or work. You have to let people know where they can find you. You have to give them a call to action, something they can do. Well, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can give them places. So the social message screen, I think, is really cool, and the way you design that, I'd love to see how you did that.
All right. Well, then let's just go ahead and make some more cards here. I'm going to turn off Auto Live, I think. And we're going to hit the plus button here in Wirecast, and we're going to go through this menu here and find Titler Live. Now, Titler Live NDI receiver, that's at the Titler Live Advanced and above, but we're just going to use Titler Live, and that's a plugin right here.
And so, again, anytime you can sort of zoom in to show small font or small text, that'll be helpful. I don't know how much you can do that on Windows or not, but if possible, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, don't have the facility.
Okay.
But thanks for the suggestion. So we don't want to modify one of the items here. We want to do a new item.
Okay.
And so we'll just call this new one, and we'll click OK. So the first thing that happens here is we have this enter text shot. So we could hit go, and it's just enter text on top of my face. So now I'm going to show how to open up the Titler Live interface to start manipulating this. So if you go over to the left-hand side there, and you go to the Properties tab, so it's the the 6th tab here. This is where Titler Live Properties can be found, and this button right here, click for Titler Live. I already have it launched, so we're just going to open it up, and it would come up here like this. And here's enter text. So I'll give you a sense of what we have here in the interface. So on the upper left-hand side, we have a library. In fact, if I hover over any design, I can see what those designs as a preview are going to look like. We have a lot of different types of titles in here. So like we can click over to main titles and see what these look like. Enter text, or this one right here. I feel like I'm starting a hair salon when I when I open that one.
Yeah, it's got some sort of 80s feel to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Or maybe something a little bit more game-ish.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variety that you can do here. Down below the library is what we call the playlists. And you have a tab for each source that you have in Wirecast. So a tab was created when you made the enter text shot here. A tab was created, and we have one title sitting in here called enter text. So yes?
I was curious. So when I interface when I do it this way, I get the enter text as kind of the placeholder every time Wirecast creates a NewBlue Titler. So you get the enter text, template, sort of placeholder. Is there a way to easily convert that onto a template? Like, so if you drag a template and drop it on it, or it'll
Oh,
automatically
to
change
every
that?
time you open something new to have a certain template there ready to go? Is that
That,
what you mean?
or just to quickly change that to one of the pre-existing templates, or do you actually have to delete it and just
Oh,
remove
no,
it?
you don't have to delete it. What you do is you go up to, let's say it's a lower third. You're looking for lower thirds and you find one that you like. Let's say maybe this one. And you drag and drop from the library down on top of the title in the playlist. Release.
It
There you are.
should auto change to that. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so I'll need to do that again. And you still have the enter text thing.
I still have
but
the
it's
enter
not-
text
but now you have all
because
the other
it's like
graphics. Yeah.
maybe I'm halfway through saying, this is a demo. I'm still typing. I don't want that to be all live, right? So there's one of two things I can do. I can hit the live refresh button right here, and it's going to instantly change what's on the screen like that. So that's for real quick work. Or back in Wirecast, what you do is you go to your clear layer
Take it off.
and then go
Let it
back to
render.
your shot.
Got it.
Exactly.
Now, you did mention the other use case where if you can always have the same default title sort of pop up as your placeholder. Is that possible too?
Right. So let's say this is the title that I just want to use time and time
Just
again.
for the
It's
look
part
of
of
your
my
show. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I can do is file, and let's see, where is that thing? Recent playlist. I think it's in the designer. So if we go to the edit title designer, this is the interface to edit a design.
Oh, okay.
File, save current project as default.
Got it.
And when you do that, every time something new is created, in fact, we can just click that now.
So if you're in Express, you wouldn't have this functionality. You'd need at least the standard version.
That's right. But I mean, Express, easy enough to drag something from the library and go, right?
True.
So let's say I right click and do new. Well, look what just happened. I just have a new title with all the same stuff in it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, but this is not what I want.
No.
I want,
Show.
yeah, let's
made
do
the-
our show open. How's that?
All right.
So we'll go into just some samples that I've been mucking around with. And let's say somebody else made this. I'm going to hover over this and see, oh, it's shoot low and save. Lowest prices ever. So I like that move. In fact, when I was talking about the fluid and kinetic motion packs that come with the higher levels of Titler Live, this is one of them, swinging text.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can see kind of like looking loose, and that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to drag and drop down to my top title here. And now let's edit this thing. Well, first I could just start typing new text on it. So let's say I want to do Titler Live with Wirecast. Enter. That's interesting. And maybe get rid of the other stuff. So that's a little off with the previous design. Let's go into Edit Title Design, and we'll just do all of this. Let's
Edit
see.
right there.
Titler Live with Wirecast. So we have this great look in the designer here, but let's say it's not the colors we want. And if you look down here in the timeline, you can see it's just 3 elements. And in fact, this top element is actually empty because over in the main shot, see how I did line 2, just blank?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering that.
Yeah. So
So you just
I don't want it
basically-
anyway.
It's first text box, and you have the background.
So I'm just going to hit delete. The thing's gone. So now we have a design that's literally 2 objects sitting in the timeline. One of them is the text, and one of them is the background, which happens to be this cool gradient thing. So let's change the gradient. So we can go into our attributes panel, and there's object, style, effects, transitions. I'm going to go into the style tab. I have the background object selected here, and we can see this gradient. So I can click into this tool and just start messing with the colors. Something like that. There we go. Click OK. And we want to do something else. Let's say we want to bring in our own logo. So we could go to File and Import Image. This is the point where you could actually, bring in a PSD if you want to, or a vector asset. But I'm just going to, or video for that matter. But I'm going to just bring an image in. And here we go. Size that down a little bit. Scoot it over to the side. Now down in my timeline is where I can adjust the layers. What's the order of these things? So I can drop this logo down and kind of in the middle there. And this whole design, just the text is swinging, right? And I want the background and the logo to also move. So that's where we really get into animations. So if we go up to the Library tab, top left, and we go into the Transitions category, I'm going to go into that Fluid Motion Pack group there. And let's say we do, what's a good one? Maybe Grow.
Now, just to be clear, this library, it holds templates, but it also holds transitions?
It also holds transitions, also holds effects.
Effects, okay.
Also holds shapes.
Shapes.
It's very versatile. Anything you're throwing into your design, basically.
Whether it's a pre-existing set of, shapes and text, or whether it's a transition. Okay, got it.
Yep. Let's see, maybe slide out. You want to slide out here? There we go.
Nice.
That works. I'm going to drag and drop this transition down into the timeline on top of my logo.
And you're just previewing those different ones by just hovering over them?
Yeah. Just you're in the library, you're just hovering over another design, and you're like, what's that look like? So it's pretty.
And that will apply the transition or the effect to whatever is selected in your timeline, or in your preview window. Okay. So just for people who might be unclear, this is the title designer. This is where you can build, design, mess with, futz with, change any
yes,
graphic,
all those technical terms,
any template, any set of titles. This you don't get access to unless you at least buy the standard version of NewBlue with the upgrade from the Express. In Express, you'll have access to a bunch of ones that have been pre-designed in this template maker, in this title designer, but you won't have access to actually go much deeper. You can probably change colors, you can change text and stuff, but you can't go in and do what Travis is doing, assign new transitions or change the all the kind of properties that he's changing right now.
So let's take that transition. We liked it. We can right click and we can duplicate and use it as a transition out. So I just dragged it to the end. And then we can right click and copy that transition because I like it too. And I'm going to right click and paste it on this other background object because why not, right? Why not use all the same stuff?
Yeah, explain what you're doing there. Pasting to a background object. What are you doing there? You basically have a transition. You have to apply it to an object, either a shape or a text box or a background image element.
So let's say here's our logo, right? And how does this guy supposed to come in? Well, I went to the library and I dragged down this slide out transition you see in the front here. And I liked how it's sliding it down into the scene. And I'm like, you know what? Let me right click and copy that and just use it again on the end.
You just right clicked on the transition bar itself on that object. Okay. All right.
And in fact, the properties, you can get geeky in this stuff if you want to. The properties are under the tab called Transitions. And this is where you have all the properties of these intelligent animations to really see what they're going to do.
Right.
Like the pivot point, I'm going to change that so actually in the end, instead of going up, the logo is going to fall down.
That's cool.
And I'll do that on the background too. Zoom. So everything's falling down.
Right.
So I can close this title designer
so
here.
Cool.
It's fun.
Freeze frame.
So this otherwise orange shoot low and save design has now been modified.
Transformed.
It has been transformed.
Reborn.
Yeah. Oh, there it went out. And let's come on in. There we go.
Yeah, so I like that. I mean, you're kind of taking the templates that have already been designed and worked on and just using them as a starting point. And then you jump off from there, change some stuff, change fonts, add serial and logos, maybe change colors. And yeah, you can even mess with the pivot point, stuff like that. And it just really makes it look like a whole different title.
Exactly.
That's
Now,
awesome.
there's two ways to work with sequencing your graphics. So, for example, we have a number of shots here, which was our open, and then it was our Twitter feed, and then it was our social media end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look what happened here. This fourth shot doesn't look like the shoot low and save thingy anymore, right? Now it's that lower third. How'd that happen?
Right.
Well, how that happened is if we go back into our interface, I have a playlist of more than one title. Here's the first title. The second title, as you recall we were building before, is that lower third. So if you have more than one title in a playlist, as you leave in Wirecast or take it off air, it will queue up the next graphic. So if you go back to that shot, click, now I have the lower third coming up. So it's a different way to work. So you can either have one title per shot in your shot bin of Wirecast, or you can have multiple titles queued up in a playlist inside Titler Live, and you can be cycling through them.
Yeah, so it's how many thumbnails in Wirecast do you want? How many shots do you want? Do you want just one shot to contain all your titles as basically a massive playlist of titles you've built in Titler Live, or you just want to create each one individually as a thumbnail in itself? It's pretty handy. Are you finding people like one or the other, or it's 50-50?
It totally depends on the show. We intentionally made these different workflows because we're not predicting how people want to get productions done, right? And so, some people, if they just want to stay in the Wirecast interface and just have Titler Live in the background serving up what they need, then they'll probably do one title per shot. But if they're a little more sophisticated, let's say it's a blog about products. So they might have one shot that's their show open, and then the next shot is the first product they're talking about. Then they cut away, and it's the second product they're talking about, and it's the third product they're talking about. And it goes through this cycle all within one shot. And then their third shot in their shot bin would be their close or something like that. So
right.
It all depends on how they want to work and what the demands of the show are.
Yeah, interesting. Do you find what modes do you have to set Titler Live? So the live title manager and the title designer are basically the two components of Titler.
There's two interfaces, exactly. Yeah.
So you've got these two windows. That's the title manager. That's where you can manage the high end. You can change the titles. You can change the text. You can change some of the variables or things like that. You can choose which templates. You can create your playlist. You can manage your playlist. But you can't get into the nitty gritty of building and designing your own titles from scratch.
That's right.
And adding transition, all that stuff you were showing. In this interface window, you've got your library up there, which has all your pre-made graphics and titles. You have your playlist section. You have your kind of editor and preview window where you can change some stuff and move things around, resize.
Yeah, and by the way,
So you do some basic editing functionality there.
Right. In fact, actually, the social connectivity slide is a great way to show what you can do right in this editor in this playout interface. So let's do that next.
All right.
In fact, just for convenience, I'll just add it to this same playlist. Sound good?
Yep.
So we'll go into our social media collection. And let's find...
And I think I'm going to be doing a whole little tutorial on the social media collection because I just love it so much. So I can dive more into what you offer there in some ways. Maybe people might use that template pack.
Yep.
I love that pack.
Good. And in fact, little shout out, Andrew. I think you were the impetus behind this pack, actually.
I think I might have passed a good idea or two that way. Yeah. So it's maybe a little bit proud parent, a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's definitely a fantastic idea. So I'm going to drag and drop this down into my playlist as a third title in my playlist. And as you'll see here, there's a number of variables, is what we call them, that you have to work with that the designer of this template exposed as variables. So the first one is like a Pinterest. Well, you know what? I'm not on Pinterest. I need a different picture.
Yeah. Do you don't want Pinterest? You're not on Pinterest. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to click this, and we pre-install some images, although you can use your own. And I'm going to grab Facebook here. and click open.
So you pre-installed.
Have,
so where did it go? It went to like the NewBlue folder on the desktop that's installed when you download
program
the pack.
files, NewBlueFX, Titler content, resources. It just jumps there.
It just jumps there. Cool.
Yeah. So now I have a Facebook icon, and I should probably say like / NewBlueFX, enter.
Cool.
So now I've got this one set up. Twitter, my tag is not a tweet. So NewBlueFX, enter. Good, covered. The third one, not talking about games today. We're talking about YouTube. So
You're not a gamer, huh?
No, I'm a boat builder, actually.
Boat builder.
Yeah.
So you could live stream
that. There you go. From the boat. So we'll go into the social icons again and go down here and grab a YouTube icon and put in my text 3 set there / NewBlueFX, because we're consistent around here. Mm-hmm. And there you go. I have a design from a template, swapped out some images. I'm ready to go.
Bam, bam, bam.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So now if I come back to my shot bin, click that shot, and here I am.
That's slick. And you were saying there's some good stuff you can show in the preview window there. Was that as far as resizing or anything? Or
oh, yeah, we can do that as well. Now, this is a full screen shot. Mm-hmm. So actually, let me bring it live again so you can see that. So this thing, we could resize it. It doesn't make a lot of sense as a full screen shot. Well, you know what? I take that back. Depends on what you're laying out, right?
It's true. It really does.
Totally depends on what you're laying out. So I've just resized it down. I positioned it.
Are those crop bars at the top sides? Top and
these
sides?
green?
The little
these
black
green
ones?
guys?
Yeah. Or maybe they're green. I can't see exactly.
Yeah, they're not cropped. They're scale and position.
Okay.
And so now we could go live, and now it's just
right there,
cutting off my chin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's as easy as it can be, right? And to use a template, switch out some of the images, some of the text, and be ready to go.
Do you have the ability to say if somebody wants to leave those hanging on the screen kind of indefinitely as a loop, or as just to let them and let them animate for a while? Is that very difficult to do? Like if you wanted to have them just jitter and shake, or if you want to
sit there and
I kind of combine those two words, jitter and shake, or if you want them to kind of wiggle or bounce in place until somebody decides, okay, I want to take them off. Is that possible? Can you kind of do an indefinite looping animation?
At present, with the product we have today, it comes on and holds until you tell it to go away.
Right.
Or you have something at the top called max duration, and you can set a duration field, which we can do.
Okay.
In fact, with this show open thing, if I uncheck no limit and put on 4 seconds, let's say, then later on when I go back to this shot, which was my show open, look, mom, no hands, and it goes away on its own. So there's that. Now, you brought up a good point. People want sequencing and they want looping. We've heard you. So we are coming out with a new version of Titler Live not too long from now that has some great UI improvements, great performance improvements, because you can always do better with performance, right?
True, always.
And a lot of great new features, including sequencing and looping.
That's cool.
So you'll be able to achieve exactly what you're talking about.
That's awesome. So this, and one question, when you were doing we'd said that we were going to make this available for folks as a kind of a download, a little zip file that they could kind of grab this stuff that you were showing here and put them in their own Titler Live workflows. How is that going to work? If they need to import those, they need at least the standard version, right? They're not going to get all the associated template files. They'll have to get their own Facebook and Twitter images if they need to change the ones that you don't provide, right?
Right.
If you the ones you aren't going to provide in the download. But yeah, show us how they would do that if you are going to share a template or share a file and then bring that in that way.
Well, you go File, and you would do, let's see. Well, let's go into the title designer, because that would be really the place where someone would want to change a design, right?
Got it.
So let's go edit title design button. So we're now in title designer, and you do file, import package. And import package is the project file plus the assets, which in these cases were different images of the different social media things that we have going on, the font that was used. And so all of that gets loaded in when you do import package. Mm-hmm. And then it loads up right here in the title designer.
Got it.
And you can use it right away. If I close this designer down, the new design will be there. If you want to save this design in the library for convenient use, you can do that. You can go to the library, and it needs to go into the project templates somewhere. You can right-click and choose Save Current Title here. And that'll stuff something into the library that's both available in the playout interface and in the designer interface.
Can you make your own subfolder in the project templates? So my titles, my graphics, my favorites?
There's an option right here that says New Category.
Okay.
So we'll do New Category here, and we'll say, Andrew wanted this. Okay. And so there's the Andrew wanted this folder. I'm going to click into there, and then
save your title.
I'm going to right-click and save current title here. I'm going to call it Open 2, just because I want to. And there's my Open 2 little graphic there.
Cool.
So when I close Title Designer, notice when I go back to our list in the project library here, there's a folder. Should be a folder. Andrew wants this. There you go. And there's my Open 2.
And it's not under project templates. It just becomes its own folder at that point in that area.
Well, it is, because in the playout interface, you're never going to get to transitions or effects. You don't use them here. Right. So this library is all about the projects. You can see at the top, it says project library.
Got it. So let's talk a little bit about the modes of operating the playout manager. And you're calling it the playout manager. We also called it the title manager or live titler, can you explain the play mode, switching between, the different ways of telling the manager to tell Wirecast what to do or how to work with Wirecast?
Exactly. I just opened another application that I didn't want to, so let me close that.
No big deal.
Don't save. Okay. All right. So first off, you've been seeing me use an automated solution that is when I click back to a clear card or a clear layer in Wirecast, it advances in the playlist, right?
Right.
And so there's been this automation because we're a plugin. Now, if you're in such a workflow where you don't want the person in the shop bin clicking back and forth, instead you want somebody sitting in title or live controlling what's going on, then rule number one is your shot that is going to be carrying the graphics needs to be live. So right now, this new one source in my shot bin, it's currently live, even though I can't see anything.
It's an invisible blank shot, but it has a live titler source in it. It's just that there's nothing queued up or nothing on screen. Okay.
So I'm going to go back to my interface and titler live, and we have these 3 titles, right? They're all in playlist mode. Now, this is something that you get in Titler Live Ultimate, actually the playlist, getting out of playlist mode. But right now, we're going to stick with playlist mode, which all of our versions have. So I'm going to click the first title here, and it becomes yellow. And the yellow is the notion that, like, hey, this guy's got to be next. When you ask me to do an action, that's going to be next. Okay. So we're getting into a little bit more advanced, particular playout mode right now.
This might be something where we were talking about with the dual operator mode, maybe. Maybe
exactly.
You have this going on another screen, and on Wirecast, there's an invisible shot that's receiving an NDI in this case. And in this case, you're doing it on the same computer, so it wouldn't be through NDI. You're doing it through...
Yeah, but it might as well be through NDI.
It might as well be through NDI, right? Because you even could do it through NDI on the same computer, I think.
Yeah, you can.
You can. This is just a little faster, a little more direct. So he's got, but basically same principle applies. Leave an invisible shot with a NewBlue source on it, and then on the other computer.
Notice, I don't know if you can see the little red, but it is live in Wirecast.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but it is there. Okay.
All right.
So we're ready to tell Wirecast what to do, or what the shot is going to show next.
Yeah, well, it's basically you're going to tell Titler Live what to do next, because Wirecast is
just ready,
just more passively saying, "Hey, I've got this live channel. I don't know what you want to put in it."
Right.
So we have these two action buttons, and if you drop down these two action buttons, you can see that there's different actions that could be taken. There's auto in, out, and take. Auto means kick the last guy out with an animation and bring the new guy in with an animation. Auto in means cut, a hard cut the last guy out and animate the next guy in. In out is mean, hey, if somebody's in, take him out. If somebody's out, bring him in.
Through a cut or what?
With a transition.
Through the transition. So with Okay, so wouldn't that be the same as auto, just all auto? How's that different from all
auto? In one fell swoop is animate the last guy out and bring the next guy in.
Oh, this is like a pause. It's like take him out, pause. Don't do anything next. Don't bring on the next title. Gotcha.
And then the last one is take, which is like a cut, just hard cut. You're skipping all the animations.
We're late with the title. We got to get the screen on as quickly as possible. Hopefully people blink and it just changes on them. Right, exactly. Okay. This is emergency mode here.
Right. Or let's say you have a design that's identical, and you have a number of titles that are identical design, and they really just have different info in them.
Or your bandwidth is killing you, and you just can't throw a bunch of animation stuff on the screen. You had all these great animations prepared, and now you just have to do hard cuts for everything.
Yeah, a little emergency action. So this is one of two action buttons.
Okay.
The second action button has all the same stuff. So
that's similar to the Wirecast transition panel. We give you two buttons for transitions. You pick which two are your favorites or which you want to use in that moment, but you can change the buttons to do whatever you want at any time.
That's right. Wirecast came first, though. You guys get credit.
That's true. I just want to be clear on that, because it's basically the buttons themselves. It doesn't matter what you put on them. It's up to you. You can make them both auto, right?
Yeah, you could make them both auto, which doesn't help you at all.
Doesn't help you at all. It's just twice as easy to get the right one. Okay.
So I'm going to click auto here. Click. And here we are. Now, that particular front title that had a time on it, let's do that again. Let's click no limit here. I'm going to put my yellow up there. Auto. All right. So here comes in our first title. Notice that it's now become red. This icon right here says red. I'm live. And the next title in the sequence in the playlist has become yellow. I'm going to be next. So you have this opportunity as an operator to say, hey, the next title on the list, is it the next one? If I did my homework like you were talking about earlier, I set up my show, most likely yes. But I do have an opportunity to designate another title as next if the show has changed. My guest didn't appear, right? And
we should be clear here that the green check marks mean that those titles are rendered in the RAM and ready to play.
Ready to animate.
Any animations. If they don't have a green check mark, you are going to just get a hard cut?
Yes.
Or it won't even let you take it?
No, you could do a hard cut right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's not.
So if it's not cached up yet,
okay.
You throw down a new title, you have to make it go live, and you hit live, it'll cut in.
Okay.
No problem.
Even if you hit auto. And
that's right.
I also want to be clear on this. The auto and take buttons seem to be highlighted light gray. Is there something going on with that, like based on they're always light gray just to differentiate them from the background, and then you click them temporarily, they go dark gray? Okay.
It's for your eyeballs.
Got it.
Now, case in point, if your shot in Wirecast is not live, they'll be dark gray, as in disabled.
Interesting. Okay.
And in fact, let's do that. I'm going to take it out in the Wirecast shot bin here.
Now, it autoed out. It animated out. Now, is that because why?
That's because of this tight integration between the
Wirecast.
Wirecast shot bin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically saying, "Oh, you just took me off, so I'm gonna play that animation out."
Yep.
And it's just gonna override. Does it always override? If you want to cut out, is there a way to cut out?
Not in the Wirecast shot bin. We didn't
Okay.
get that.
You have to
complex.
do that. Okay. You have to do
Yeah.
it in the Titler if you want to cut out. Okay.
So if we go back to Titler Live, notice those two buttons, auto and take, they're like grayed out.
Yeah.
I can't affect them.
Interesting.
And that's just the nature of, in this case, since we're a plugin within Wirecast in this scenario,
Right.
Wirecast is the master.
There's only so much. Yeah. Titler Live can tell Wirecast. Right.
We can't tell you to do nothing.
Can't do everything. Otherwise, you'd just be Wirecast, or vice versa, right? Now each tab, you have different shots in the Wirecast on that first layer, that master layer, and you have each one corresponds to a different tab, or which is a playlist in the title manager.
That's right. If
And
I jump
each
around
one
here,
of those tabs can have its own mode, right? You can have one in auto live, one in playlist mode, one in non-playlist mode.
yes, playlist
Okay.
mode or not playlist. That's right. The buttons of your two favorite actions, like auto and take, for example. In fact, let's do take.
Will
here.
those be
Take.
different from tab to
take.
tab?
Those will not.
We'll see. Okay, so the buttons are going to stay the same, whichever tab's up.
Right.
Will your operation mode be the same, whichever tab is up?
That's correct.
Okay.
So
that
we'll get
whole
to that
transition
next.
panel. Okay.
So even our operation, so we have an auto live as well. So let's say somebody's thinking, hey, I don't want to be that deliberate. Can I just push a button and the graphic goes live? Thank you. So this little dot right here says auto live mode. Let's click that. And now those two action buttons go away. And the icons turn from circles to play icons. And I can choose my favorite action, auto, in, or take. So I'm going to leave it on auto. But now I just click any graphic, that I want to go live.
And just
So it's a
go
different kind of
auto-
work.
Kind of pushes in. Okay, got it. And it's always auto. It's auto live. It's always.
Well,
auto.
I can change
you
in
can
this
change that to
drop down
cut.
to be a take, for example.
Okay.
Take,
Take. Got it.
take.
And the main advantage of this over the previous one, or vice versa, if you aren't working in auto live, the main advantage is that in the not auto live, in the playlist mode, you have these different action buttons, these different transition buttons, basically, that gives you more control over the way titles come on and off the screen. And whereas when you go to auto live mode, you have more limited options, and you just have to just take.
Right. Let me show you the power of the action buttons getting out of playlist mode. So I'm going to go to our motion bugs here, and I'm going to, let's see, silver disc. I'm going to add another title here and size this up. Can you see my screen here?
I can.
All right. And let's say we'll do fill of our logo. So let's say this is our kind of our watermark for our show. We're going to put it in the high corner, right? So now I'm going to unlink. So this down arrow icon here, I'm going to unlink all these guys. And I'm going to elect that my lower third, which is the second graphic, and this bug, I'm going to click them both as yellow.
Oh.
And the current guy that's live, that's red, I'm going to click him. He's going to become purple. He's like, hey, I'm listening too. So now when I hit auto, I get rid of my big graphic, and up comes my logo, and up comes my lower third, all in one fell swoop.
Bam.
So that's the power
that's
of that.
Similar
ultimate
again to Wirecast in the sense that you can queue up like 5 things to go live or change, and you're just queuing up a bunch of different stuff in combination. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Whereas with your take, auto live mode, just like ours, it's a one-time thing, change at a time, unless of course you're using hotkeys, and doing
exactly
combos, macros. But yeah, that makes perfect sense to me now, because when I would get confused, I would go, well, it seems like I'm kind of just doing the same thing. I queue this one. It doesn't seem to matter whether I'm in auto live mode or whether I'm in playlist mode, but this makes a lot of sense now.
And this in unlinking from playlist mode. This is an ultimate feature.
Oh, it is.
Titler Live Ultimate. Yeah.
Unlinking from playlist mode, and it's an ultimate feature. So this ultimate's the only time you could take multiple Titler Live things changing at the same time. What you just showed.
Right.
Okay. Otherwise, you can still change it into auto live and playlist mode, but
yes, you can still do that.
But then, what is it going to limit you as far as you could just queue up one thing, and then do the take or the auto buttons?
Yeah, it's a little more deliberate, a little more control over: are you going to take or are you going to auto right now?
Okay.
Yeah. Rather than always one thing.
Cool. Well, that is pretty exciting. I would say that we are definitely over time. I wish we had more time to dive into stuff because this stuff doesn't.
It's also intriguing.
It is, and every time I sit with you, I learn a lot, ask a lot of questions, I bug you a lot, because I definitely want to learn more about this integration because I'm a Wirecast user and expert, but I still don't feel like I'm a NewBlue expert. But each time. And I've been saying that for at least a year. So give it time. We'll do better. All right. Well, Travis, I think that I just want to see real quick if anyone has some questions that we can answer real fast. Let's take a couple if anybody has them, and then we will wrap up the show. So checking YouTube real quick here. And we geeked out today. We really went in deep. So, but it is possible to do that, and I think that's valuable. It's one of the things I like to do on the show, is because you can't always just stay high level with stuff. You gotta really get into the weeds sometimes.
Well, I hope that we showed how you can use templates really fast.
Yeah, it doesn't take long at all.
Yeah.
So this one comes from Alex. He's wondering. I was confused. I was thinking of general NDI, but okay, so. But Titler Live NDI is out and it works. Okay, so yeah, Titler Live NDI is not some sort of special NDI that only works with just other Titler Live or just Wirecast. It's NDI, any program, any software. I think there's hardware coming out eventually, but anything that's compliant with NDI,
we can send a graphic to them.
You can send a graphic to them or receive something.
Oh, right now we don't have
or
any
Wirecast receiver. Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Wirecast is receiving.
Yeah, and it's through you guys that we get that receiver. So
that's true.
In theory,
we install that Titler Live receiver.
Yes.
For Wirecast to be able to receive anything from any NDI source.
Yeah. So if you want suddenly Wirecast to get any NDI source, then NewBlue is the ticket in right now.
We're friendly.
Yes.
We're friendly.
Yes. So that's the way. If you guys are curious. That to get NDI and Wirecast right now, it's through NewBlue. So that's the best way to do that. Okay, next questions. Let me just refresh here. Just check Facebook here. See a few familiar names here. Wes, good to see you. Glad you're tuning in.
Hey, Wes.
Let me check. Let's go grab some more of these comments here. Let's see. Not seeing it. Maybe I have to click on the actual live stream itself. Yeah, Trevor's been super good at answering questions, so there may no be questions.
He cleared them all out. Huh?
Trevor, you gotta leave some for us, man. Like, gotta let us know. All right, here we go. Here's the rest of the questions. Got some highs, got some hellos. Social media template was being talked about. Okay, the social media template. So the social media template that you just built, we have it's a piece of the social media pack that people can download. I think people are wondering where do they get that. You can buy extra template packs on the NewBlue site, right? And those can you install those in Express, or do you have to have at least the standard version?
Yes. You can buy additional template packs for your Titler Live Express.
Wow. Okay. So even if you just have the free version, you just go out and get some template packs. You can modify or augment the 60 templates that come with that, and just do the social media pack right there. And you'll have access to change those things you already showed us in the title manager.
Yeah, anything that you can change in the title manager, playout manager.
Okay.
How you saw me change the logos, you saw me change the text.
they can all do that in Express with the social media pack. Where do they get the social media pack if people want to know how to get that?
NewBlueFX.com.
NewBlueFX.com. And I will post that link in both chats real fast. I'm just going to go to template packs. Is it in the, let's pull up my screen real fast. Show me where to go here. There we go. So is you're going to go to products and you're going to go to on-air graphics, or is there a place specifically for template packs?
It's on-air graphics.
On-air graphics. Click anything?
And there's let's see, a Seymour probably. Tink.
Extras and add-ons?
There you go.
Okay, we'll click on extra and add-ons. And it looks like here's a bunch of packs.
Check it out.
Cool. I'm going to send that to everybody.
And there's a whole bunch of different styles there, so you can see some of the images and some of the videos and see the styles that make good sense for you.
Discover features.
Yeah.
See what Anaconda. Oh, you actually have videos of each one. Ha! That's awesome. The Anaconda. My kids just had I think it was a python, but it's an anaconda come to their class. It was like a 20-foot snake.
Oh my!
It's crazy. I was like, I kept thinking like, those kids. I hope they fed that snake. The kids are about the same size as its normal meals. Oh, this is cool. So you got the fluid connection pack. You've got all kinds.
Yeah.
of
So
stuff.
what those are, the kinetic and the fluid motion packs, those aren't templates. Those are animations.
Okay.
So when you saw the swinging text, and we didn't go through some of the other animations, which is really powerful ones, that enables you to animate in very interesting ways without keyframing. All your text and elements.
Okay, so I put that link in the chat, and so those basically, do they unlock new properties? Basically, they install new properties that can be animated. Is that it, or new behaviors?
They install those animation kind of plugins
recipes.
themselves. Yeah,
Okay.
you can think of them as recipes.
I like to think of them as recipes because it's like when you you have Title Designer, you can change the same properties as everyone else, but it's how you change them that really makes the difference, and when you change them, and that can take a lot of work and math and time to figure out. And so once people get that recipe right, they can really make it look really cool.
Well, actually, when you include fluid and kinetic, when you buy those, they actually install new behaviors that.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So like the swinging text, or we have turning text is kind of like the Universal Studios kind of thing around a globe, and things of that nature. that functionality doesn't exist in the basic shipping versions of Titler Live.
So that's how it does. Okay. So that's cool. So new behaviors, new types of vector, that graphics can follow, and that's cool.
Now those fluid and kinetic motion packs are content that is included in the Titler Live Advanced version.
Okay.
So if people want economy of purchase, then definitely go to the Telestream, Wirecast store and grab Titler Live Advanced. They get more functionality. They get those animations. They get the sports template collection and an NDI receiver. So
cool. All right. Well, that's great. And then if you want to one-off kind of pick and choose the things you want, you've got the link there on the Facebook page to the extras and add-ons on the NewBlue site. So we will definitely have you back. I mean, this is we could talk for days about this stuff. It's really cool. Where can we make it available for folks to download the zip file if they want to install the stuff we showed today?
We'll get a zip file up on an FTP, and we'll get you the link, Andrew, and then you can post that link wherever you feel like.
All right, we'll post that on the show page here. We'll post it in the description on the YouTube page, so it should be linked below in the description, and it should also be on the Facebook page as well for this video event. So Travis, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You were great, and we will have you on again. And look for more stuff coming with NewBlue. This is not the last of this. I think there's again, like I said, a lot of people out there don't even know what they have at their fingertips. So we want to talk.
It's true.
More
Dig
about
into
this.
it.
Yeah,
it's powerful.
It is. It's cool. All right, Travis. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Andrew. Take care.
Well, folks, that was it. We are definitely past our time, hour and 15 minutes. This is a long show, but this is me bugging Travis with a lot of questions and just wanting to ask. Hopefully it was useful for you. I hope we'll just post this as a tutorial on how you can really take advantage of the stuff at your fingertips as a Wirecast 7 user, what you have available. And as you could see from talking to Travis, there's a lot more coming down the pipe. So stay tuned for that. I will definitely be doing more videos as I get better at this stuff. I hope to share what I learn. And if you guys have templates or if you have things that you have designed, titles that you designed you want to share, send them to us. We'd love to see them and we'd love to try them out. All right, guys, take care. I will see you next week for the Mari Smith Show. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow us. You can notice this lovely social media screen right here, designed entirely in and by NewBlue Graphics, NewBlue Titler, at Telestream Wirecast on Facebook, at Wirecast on Twitter, and Wirecast Tube on YouTube. That's all for now. Head over to telestream.net/Mari for information on the next show. You can subscribe. You can get the ebook, sign up to get the ebook, and you can get notified by email when we are live next week. It's going to be a cool show. I highly recommend tuning in for that. Mari is an expert. And again, my job is just get out of the way, let her talk, and share what she knows with you guys. So we'll see you then. And in the meantime, keep streaming.